Welcome. Thank you for coming, listening, and allowing people in these and similar situations to benefit from your opinions. Am I the unreasonable one for not wanting my parents to be a part of my daughter's life? When I was 18, my parents kicked me out of the house after I got my girlfriend pregnant. To them it was shameful and they completely cut me out of their lives and my family's money. My girlfriend and I managed on our own after my son was born. But it was a struggle for years. We were living paycheck to paycheck and constantly stressed about money. My girlfriend's parents helped out when they could and were the best grandparents to our son. By some miracle we managed to graduate from college even with work and raising a child. Now we're both 32, been married 6 years. Living in our own home with our 13-year-old son and our 4-month-old daughter. I haven't seen or spoken to anyone in my family except my cousins in years. 2 WKS ago my mom sent me a friend request on Facebook and also messaged me. She sent this long message about how she's wanted to talk for a while now and she apologized for the way they treated me. She and my dad were hoping we can make amends because they really want to meet my new daughter and get the chance to be grandparents. She didn't mention my son at all, ask how old he is, how he's doing, or express any interest whatsoever in also wanting to see him, not just my daughter. I messaged her back and vented about all the hardship and obstacles my girlfriend and I had to deal with to get to where we are, and how hard it was that I didn't have my parents' emotional support through what was the most difficult time of my life. Sure, their money would have made things a hell of a lot easier, but I get that money shouldn't be handed to us. But I feel the least they could have done was be there for me instead of erasing me from their lives. I said they don't get to walk back into our lives and I don't want to hear from her again. I blocked her after that. A few days ago, one of my cousins mentioned my parents and said they're telling everyone I'm refusing to let them meet their granddaughter. My cousin knows about everything, but he thought it was still petty to be that way when they clearly regret what they did and want to be in my life now and I can't allow a grudge to prevent them from being grandparents. My wife and I talked this over and she feels the same way I do, but will support it if I want them around. It really feels like they only care now because we're older and the hard part is over, and honestly, my parents have always been extremely judgmental over everything. They're also very snobby and I'm not 100% sure if that's what I want my kids growing up with. My cousin keeps saying I'm in the wrong here and it's hurting my parents that they'll miss out on my daughter's first year of life by not being around. I'm just a little lost and I don't know if I really am being the bad guy or not. Am I the unreasonable one? Not the unreasonable one. They made their feelings known 13 years ago. It's a total move to ask about one child and ignore the other. If you are so inclined, consider meeting with your parents in a public place, sans kids. If they are serious about reconnecting and making amends, they can start with just you and your wife. If that goes well, over time, consider allowing them limited access to kids. Make it perfectly clear that it's a package deal. Either they treat both kids the same, or they see neither child. You're probably better off without them in your life. Also, thank you for the award, whoever you are. AITA 2, thank you for the All-Seeing Upvote award. Not the unreasonable one. Why now? Why only your daughter? I get that people can grow, but in that growth are they planning to pretend your son is still a shameful secret? Family is more than blood, they are the people who stand by you, with you and behind you in good and bad times. The fact that your mom immediately went with woe is me, I'm the victim, they won't let me, etc. to everyone have says a lot to me. She isn't even planning to put in some work to try and heal the rift that she allowed to grow. In case it's unclear, I support your decision 100%. Not the unreasonable one. It's like they think they can just rug sweep 13 years and jump on the grandparent bandwagon. They were MIA when their presence would have made a real difference and now they want to look good to their friends who are involved with their grandchildren. He thought it was still petty to be that way when they clearly regret what they did and want to be in my life now and I can't allow a grudge to prevent them from being grandparents. If anything, the way they have followed up by bad-mouthing you to all and sundry, is confirmation that leaving them out of your life is the right thing to do. They haven't made any actual overtures to you or your wife, they just say they are entitled to access to one of your children. Tell your cousin you appreciate the input and to butt out of the discussion. Am I the unreasonable one for deciding to move to my dad because my mom let her boyfriend and his kids live with us? My mom and dad divorced about 10 years ago when I was 6, I am 16F now and my mom remarried and divorced once before and my dad has had several long-time girlfriends. I have been close with both of them, but ever since my mom moved to another town I have primarily lived with her and spent long weekends and vacations with and at my dad. Now my mom met a new guy about a year ago and ever since he has been over to her house a lot, which is fine. But I do not like him much. He is very bossy and often takes his kids with him who I am expected to entertain while they do whatever. That is my main issue. I despise his kids. They are 15M, 13M and 10M. The 15-year-old takes after his dad and tries to order me around. The 13-year-old behaves like an 8-year-old and has frequent temper tantrums, and the 10-year-old has a weird crush on me, and I have caught him trying to peek into the bathroom and sneak into my room when I am there 3 times. I told my mom all of this and she told her boyfriend, and he claims to have talked to them. But nothing has changed. Now last week my mom said they were moving in with us. I told her I was not comfortable with that and she got mad and said I am too old to act like a jealous kid. I told her I am not jealous, I just dislike her boyfriend and really dislike his kids who live with him 5 days a week. She essentially told me to stop complaining and they moved in the next day. Well, I called my dad the day they moved in and he came to pick me up the day after. I only informed my mom after I had left as she was at work, and I have been living with him and his girlfriend ever since. Meanwhile, my mom has been beyond herself. She has begged me to come back, apologized profusely, calls me 10 times a day, offered to kick her boyfriend out, and has even tried to threaten my dad to take me back. I got to be honest, I feel really bad. Ever since like 4 years ago it's been me and her all the time and she probably feels horrible. However, my dad has been great. His girlfriend is really nice and I just feel really at home, which I haven't felt ever since my mom's boyfriend came in the picture. Not the unreasonable one. Your mom didn't care enough to consult you before changing your living situation, and you had very good reasons to not want to interact with her boyfriend's kids and put up with their inappropriate behavior. You have no reason to take her opinion into account to do the same thing. Not the unreasonable one. If you're happy where you are now, stay there. Meet with your mother and explain why you felt the need to move out, and let her know you still love her and you want to spend time with her, minus the boyfriend. It's not wrong to do what's best for yourself. Seriously, the little weirdo that keeps trying to peek at you would have been reason enough. Their behavior didn't change when you confronted her about it, and a lot of his kids' behavior was concerning on their own before that. You weren't even consulted on the idea that they would move in, where things like boundaries, privacy, ground rules, etc. should have been set in. Honestly, it sounds like you're better off with your dad. You're not living in a crowded house, and if she wants her BF so badly, she can have him. Am I the unreasonable one for asking my daughter to contribute to her siblings' college funds? I, 50 years old female, have 3 children, 30F, 17M, and 16F. My oldest has a different father from the other 2, and was obviously fairly grown once her siblings were born. I will admit that. During her teen years, my oldest took on a lot of babysitting duties in the house. I worked during the afternoons and evenings, so she would pick the babies up from daycare and watch them until I got home at night. This unfortunately has led to my daughter and I having somewhat of a strained relationship as she's become an adult. She has told me that I used her as a second parent, and that it caused her a lot of stress and stunted her social life during adolescence. I know that I made mistakes as a mother during that time. We were struggling financially, and she always seemed eager to help with the babies, but I shouldn't have taken advantage of her like that. We've discussed it a lot in the years since, and though we still have problems between us, I like to think our relationship has made progress. Since graduating college, my daughter has become a financial consultant with an excellent salary. I'm incredibly proud of her and everything she's achieved. As someone who myself never attended college, and who has lived near the poverty line my entire life, it's so rewarding to see my daughter move up in the world. As my younger 2 children have been approaching college, however, I've been beginning to question how I'm possibly going to pay to put them through school. In all likelihood, they'll have to take out heavy student loans. I'd like to avoid this if at all possible. We all know how damaging student debt can be to young people. I approached my oldest, and asked her whether she might be willing to contribute somewhat to her siblings' tuition. I emphasized that she could absolutely say no, or we could discuss the possibility of us paying her back over a period of years. I said multiple times that I was only asking because I wanted to consider all options, but if she wasn't comfortable with it I would drop it and look for alternatives. My daughter became very upset with me. She said that it was entirely inappropriate for me to ask, and that the only reason I would ever consider asking is because I've always considered her a second parent rather than a child. She said that my asking her for this has shown her that I've never learned from my parenting mistakes when she was a teenager. But I really don't think it's the same thing. Like, honestly, she's rich. She has the money. I don't think it's absurd that I might ask her if she's willing to do me a favor for the sake of her siblings, especially since I made it very clear I wouldn't be angry or upset if she said no. Thoughts? Also, I put this in a comment, but since a couple people have asked about either my children's fathers or about how my oldest paid for school, my oldest was put through school by her father. He lives across the country, and would visit occasionally when she was growing up, though he never had custody. He offered to pay for her schooling as a sort of apology for not being more present when she was young. I don't see him, but they have some amount of contact nowadays. The younger two have the same father. He ran off just after my youngest was born. Haven't heard anything from him since. I couldn't tell you where he might be right now. You're the unreasonable one. You admit to yourself you took advantage of your daughter when she was younger and now have the gall to ask her to be a parent to her siblings again? She's right. You asking was extremely inappropriate. You're the unreasonable one. Summed up by 2 sentences, like, honestly, she's rich. She has the money. You used her as a second parent and now want her to pay for their college so they don't have the burden of student loans, and because she's rich. It's not a favor to ask someone to drop tens of thousands on college for kids that they're barely related to. The more I read it, the more your post and attitude towards your daughter disgusts me. You're the unreasonable one. She succeeded in spite of you, and now you want her to keep picking up your slack. You haven't learned anything from your earlier shortcomings as a parent. Am I the unreasonable one for telling off my daughter for a horrible comment towards her sister even though she feels like she's correct and justified? My older daughter is now 31 and my younger daughter is 27. 4 years ago, my older daughter's fiancé left her for my younger daughter a month before their wedding. Yes, it is as terrible as it sounds, made even worse by the fact that my younger daughter was 2 months along in her pregnancy. I was extremely disappointed in my younger daughter. They both claimed they were in love and are still married till now. It literally destroyed our family. My older daughter has banned her sister from coming around her, which everyone has been accommodating all these years. It makes holidays very stressful, but it is what it is. I've tried my best to have a good relationship with my grandchild while navigating the family issues. My older daughter has made very cruel comments about my grandchild which I've ignored. That's a mistake on my part for not shutting it down. In February, my older daughter dropped by our house unexpectedly and encountered my younger daughter, son-in-law and grandchild. It was very tense and my younger daughter broke down in tears and tried apologizing again and revealed to us that my grandchild was likely on the autism spectrum. And my oldest daughter immediately replied by saying that it's sad that the karma of cheating parents is inflicted on the children, and that maybe this will be a lesson for my younger daughter. My son-in-law and my oldest daughter got into a huge fight and everyone left in tears. I've always been sympathetic to my older daughter and have usually taken her side. But I think what she said is extremely out of line and mean. I told her that what she said was unacceptable and that she needs to apologize or I will not be having her over anymore. She then told me that my parenting is atrocious and it's no wonder my younger daughter turned out to be a bad word. I've clearly messed up somewhere to have raised 2 daughters who've made such cruel judgments. But am I wrong for taking a stand on this issue? Both my daughters were lovely people with a lot of success, but our whole family is so angry and sad now. My oldest daughter is the complete opposite of who she used to be, but she refuses to go to therapy even when I offer to pay for it and come with her if she wants. I'm just heartbroken. You're the unreasonable one. I'm giving the older daughter a pass because her comment was justified. Let's break down exactly why. Finding out your fiancé was cheating a month before the wedding is a huge blow. I can't imagine how horrible it would be to find out that it was with your own sister, and that she was pregnant. That is grounds for permanently removing those 2 from your life. Now we have the mother. What was her reaction? I'm extremely disappointed in sister, but she gave us the first grandchild, so I'm not gonna rock that boat too hard. You make the holidays work, so it's obvious she has seen very little to no actual repercussions for what they did. Now, older daughter simply suggests the sister is getting her comeuppance, and that she feels sorry for the child, and this is where you make your stand? This is the breaking point. A step too far? Jesus OP. Could you make it any more obvious how much you favor your younger daughter? Your older daughter is right. Your parenting is atrocious. My oldest daughter is the complete opposite of who she used to be. No crap, Sherlock. Her fiancé cheated with her younger sister, and her family decided that was perfectly fine. While therapy probably would be helpful for her, therapy needs to be with someone you trust. Why would she want you there? You've more than shown her where your loyalties lie. Editing to add for a lot of comments. I never said the oldest daughter's comment wasn't an a-hole comment, but if you think the actions are justified, then you don't give them an ESH. The majority of my original comment addresses the justification, but there are other things as well. Older daughter wasn't the first to bring up autism. Her sister threw it in her face to garner sympathy. Older daughter isn't blaming any of this on the innocent child, and in fact feels sorry the child might be a vessel for karmic retribution. This is putting everything on the parents. If she wants to believe autism is a punishment, I agree that is an a-hole move, but I still feel her comment to her sister was justified, and the older sister's views on disabilities do not in any way reflect my own. You're the unreasonable one. First of all, It was your youngest daughter who viewed autism as a negative thing. Why else would she bring it into the argument? Your older daughter said that it's sad that the karma of cheating parents is inflicted on the child, and you are rightfully upset by this. But I think you're a bit too upset. First, it was your youngest daughter who first brought her child into the argument, and she also obviously views autism as being something negative since she's using it for sympathy. I don't see you being upset at your youngest daughter, though. Second, your youngest daughter is not a lovely person. Maybe she used to be a lovely person long ago, but I doubt it. Lovely people don't cheat with their siblings' fiancé. Third, I can't believe you still view your youngest daughter's husband as a son-in-law. You're so accepting of someone who cheated on your daughter. No wonder your oldest daughter feels upset. Fourth, you threaten to stop allowing your oldest daughter over to your house unless she apologizes. Yet, you still allow your youngest daughter and her husband over, despite them being cheaters. Do you really view your oldest daughter's mean comments as a worse offense than literally cheating with someone's fiancé? Fifth, although this isn't your fault, your older daughter probably feels that your offer of taking her to a therapist is almost as if you're telling her that there's something wrong with her, and that she needs to get over it. She probably feels that you're blaming her, which must definitely hurt since you also seem very partial towards your youngest daughter and her husband. To me, it seems that you've clearly chosen sides and that you support your younger daughter and her son-in-law, despite your son-in-law being a proven promiscuous cheater. This is why you're TA. There's nothing wrong in trying to maintain a relationship with your grandchild, but you're still so accepting of your youngest daughter and her husband. I mean, they literally got married and, I assume, you were there at their marriage, meaning you support their marriage. And you also accept your daughter's husband as your son-in-law. Maybe I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and claim that you've been so supportive just because of the grandchild. I just hope you'll show your grandchild the same support if / when your son-in-law cheats again and leaves your youngest daughter. Your youngest and her husband are what your eldest said sounds hurtful, but it didn't hurt the child. The baby's not any less or more autistic for what she said. I'd argue nothing has changed for the baby at all after your eldest said that. Your youngest and her husband should be the ones trying to fix this. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.